when Jakiw Palij and his wife moved into their two-story red brick home just off Northern Boulevard in Jackson Heights in 1966, he appeared to be like any other middle-aged Queens immigrant. But the son of the couple who sold Palij the home told the Post on Tuesday that if his late dad, a Holocaust survivor, had known of the buyer's World War II past, I don't think Palij would have gotten out of that house alive. Palij, who obtained U.S. citizenship in 1949 under false pretenses, was a former Nazi collaborator who stood guard at the Trawniki concentration camp in Poland, where some 6,000 Jews were shot to death, their bodies burned, in one of the largest single massacres of the Holocaust, according to U.S. officials. And the couple from whom Palij bought his home were Holocaust survivors. They would have been horrified, their son said. It would take 75 years from the time Palij joined the Nazi Party's bloodthirsty elite Schutzstaffel, better known as the SS, and eventually moved on to enjoy a comfortable life in America, for any semblance of justice to be served. See also Nazi war crimes. Suspect living in Queens gets deported. A former Nazi guard who for decades lived a comfortable. On Monday, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents stormed a quiet, tree-lined block to finally arrest the decrepit, now 95-year-old war criminal and ship him off to Germany, as per a 2004 deportation order. Though he admitted to working at the camp, Palij has denied committing war crimes for the Nazis. "I am not SS. I have nothing to do with SS," he told the Post in 2013. But the U.S. Department of Justice scoffed that Palij was crucial in advancing the Nazi regime's sickening genocide. By helping to prevent the escape of these prisoners during his service at Trawniki, Palij played an indispensable role in ensuring that they later met their tragic fate at the hands of the Nazis, the Dodge said in a statement. Born in the village of Piadyki, Poland, a part of present-day Ukraine that was seized by the Nazis, Palij at age 19 was recruited by the SS in 1943. He was sent to Trawniki in eastern Poland and trained as a private guard there with the ID number 3505, according to papers first filed by the Dodge in 2002 to revoke Palij's citizenship. The training camp was aimed at readying SS guards for Operation Reinhard, the Nazis' code name for their plan to capture and murder 1.7 million Polish Jews. As an armed guard at the camp, Palij compelled the prisoners to work and prevented them from escaping, the court paper said. Although he isn't accused of physically carrying out the murders, Palij was on hand on November 3, 1943, when the entire camp prison population, some 6,000 Jewish men, women, and children, were shot to death. Some Jewish prisoners were momentarily spared to burn the piling up corpses and scatter their remains into trenches before being shot dead themselves. Thousands of victims were forced to listen hour after hour to the gunfire and the screams of terror and pain of those who had gone to the executioners before them, knowing that they too were doomed. Eli Rosenbaum, of the Dodge's Human Rights and Special Prosecutions section, recounted on a conference call with reporters Tuesday. In the following years, Palij was promoted to the rank of Oberleutnant, or Guard Private First Class, with the SS Battalion Strebel 1st Company. See also protesters swarm house of ex-Nazi concentration camp guard. A crowd of yeshiva students protested Monday outside the Queens In 1949, 4 years after World War II ended, he sought to immigrate to the U.S. on a visa under the Displaced Persons Act, created to help refugees from post-war Europe. Palij lied about his Nazi past on paperwork, saying he never served in the military. Instead, he claimed he had worked on his father's farm in Piadyki, as well as at a farm and upholstery factory in Germany during the war. It worked. His visa was granted, and he moved to the U.S. in July 1949. 8 years later, he gained citizenship. Investigators caught wind of Palij flying under the radar in the U.S. after spotting his name on a roster of other Trawniki trained men about 3 decades ago. A fellow former guard also let slip that Palij was living somewhere in America. In 1993, when investigators knocked on his door in Queens, Palij admitted to lying his way into the United States. "I would never have received my visa if I told the truth," he said. "Everyone lied." He also copped to having worked at Trawniki in 1943, the Dodge said, prompting a deportation effort that lasted decades. As a result of the Dodge's 2002 complaint, Brooklyn federal judge Aline Ross stripped him of his citizenship, saying in a 2003 order the government has marshaled convincing evidence that defendant indeed served as an armed Trawniki guard and that his service resulted in the persecution of civilians. A year later, an immigration judge ordered Palij to be deported to Ukraine, Poland, or Germany, but the process was stymied for years due to other countries' unwillingness to take him. Palij's presence in the U.S., however, no longer went unnoticed. His Queens home was the site of perennial protests led by local Jewish leaders. "I am starting to get used to it," Palij, clad in blue Ralph Lauren pajamas and a bathrobe, told the Post during one protest in 2013, the same year his wife died. He insisted he was conscripted as a teen when Nazi forces invaded his family's farm and feared they would kill his younger sister and mother if he didn't comply. "They told us we would be picking up mines. But that was a lie," Palij said then. "In that camp they took us, 17, 18, 19-year-old boys. I am one of them. If you tried to run away, they take your family and shoot all of them." Palij's removal became a priority for the Trump administration, which tasked Richard Grenell, his U.S. ambassador to Germany, with finally making it happen. "The president asked me to do this, so I made it a point to bring it up in every single meeting that we did, no matter what the meeting was about," Grenell told reporters Tuesday. Trump made it very clear that he wanted this individual out of the U.S. Grenell explained that the German Foreign Ministry finally agreed to accept the former Ukraine national as part of its moral obligation after resisting for years because he wasn't a German citizen. Strapped to a wheelchair, Palij said nothing as he was removed from his Jackson Heights home Monday, according to ABC News. He reportedly yelled out in pain as he was loaded into an ambulance. Palij was flown out of Teterboro Airport in New Jersey and landed in Düsseldorf, Germany, early Tuesday, officials said. He will be housed in a care home. In Germany, Palij is unlikely to be charged with war crimes. Prosecutors there opened a criminal investigation in 2015, but closed it for lack of evidence. Meanwhile, the son of the Holocaust survivors who sold Palij his Queen's home said the deportation came 50 years too late. Additional reporting by Marissa Schultz, Igor Kosov and Wires.